Player versus player combat is the catalyst for change in Ashes of Creation. Player combat is intended to be meaningful and diverse, ranging from caravan battles to vast open-world conflicts. There are many reasons to engage in open-world PvP in Ashes of Creation, such as rare resources, hunting grounds, caravans, sieges, guild wars, and many others. In this video, we will dive into how PvP works in this game. If you like this type of content and want to see more Ashes of Creation in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Now, get comfortable and get your snacks ready, because we are about to start. Ashes of Creation has no big permanent factions. Instead, you will notice that there are temporary factions in the game, and we can give a few examples. Guild wars flag the members of the guilds as enemies for the duration of the war. Social organizations offer quest lines to assault other organizations. Node wars flag the citizens and allies of the warring nodes as enemies for the duration of the node war. If you don't know what the nodes are in Ashes of Creation, I have a short video that explains that. For now though, just know that they are the foundation of the world system. Anyways, some of these examples may result in huge open world battlegrounds with no death penalties, in which obviously you will have to pick a side, and that is a temporary faction in the game. But outside of these points of interest, normal PvP flagging rules apply, which is a perfect transition into how normal PvP works in Ashes of Creation. In Ashes of Creation, there is an open world PvP flagging system, which basically means what color your name is. This system is designed to deter people from griefing other players. Do not worry though, players will still be able to gank other players, but the intention is to not encourage this excessively. The penalties are intended to be severe enough to deter any type of spawn camping. And for this, there are 3 levels of flagging for world PvP in Ashes of Creation. Non-combatant, which is green, combatant, that is purple, and corrupt, which is red. Let's start with the non-combatant. All players start as green non-combatants. This is the standard way that you will play the game. Basically, you are peaceful, and if you die as a green player, you suffer normal penalties, which may include experience loss, skill and stat dampening, lower health and mana, lower gear proficiency, reduction in drop rates from monsters, durability loss, and dropping a percentage of carried gatherables and processed goods. The second level of flagging is the combatant. As a green player entering an open world battleground, you are automatically flagged as a combatant and will remain flagged for a period of time after leaving that battleground. Examples of these battlegrounds are node sieges, castle sieges, objective-based guild wars, or caravans. Players will also be flagged as purple combatants by performing intentional attacks on other players. If the attacked player fights back, they are also flagged as combatant, otherwise they will remain green. You do not have to worry about AoEs, as they will not hit green players. You will be able to click a checkbox to allow your beneficial or non-beneficial AoEs to hit flagged players. If this is checked, then AoE heals or AoE damage will affect flagged players. If it is not checked, then the AoE will not damage or heal any flagged players, and as such will not cause the caster to be flagged themselves. So basically, if you are not interested in attacking others, you will never check this box. Now, green players who heal, buff, or otherwise interact with purple players will become combatants as well. But if you feel any better, you are free to loot any bodies, as this is something that will not turn you into a combatant. Players can kill combatants without repercussions, and you are even encouraged to do so, since dying as a combatant has reduced death penalties. Players remain flagged for a period of 90 seconds following their most recent player attack, and in this state you are not able to log out. If you die as a combatant, you suffer the same penalties as a green player, but at half the rate. Now though, what happens if a combatant player kills a peaceful green player? Well, they will be flagged as corrupt. There is a 60-second timer to log out while corrupt, and the player's corruption score increases with each green player killed. Additionally, green players can also attack corrupt players without repercussions, as they will not be flagged. You might be wondering, is that all that corruption does? Well, not exactly. Corruption also multiplies death penalties and reveals your location to bounty hunters. The higher the corruption score, also the more skill and stat dampening applies to you. That means lower health and mana and lower gear proficiency, until you ultimately become ineffective at PvP combat. Also, on death, you get a higher chance of dropping dropping raw materials and gear. That means you could lose your hard-earned weapons and armor. Player-to-player trading and the ability to store items in public warehouses is also disabled for corrupt players. But do not worry, as you will still be able to utilize private storage in your own freehold. If you die as a corrupt player, you suffer penalties at 4 times the rate of a green player. You will then respawn at random locations in the vicinity of your death, not at regular spawn points. The primary means to remove corruption is through death. Multiple deaths may be necessary to remove all the corruption you have gained. The developers have stated that there may be quests that can be utilized to reduce player corruption, and additionally, corruption duration is also reduced in military nodes. I have mentioned earlier how a corrupt player's location is revealed to bounty hunters on their world map. What even is a bounty hunter, you might ask? Well, you can become a bounty hunter through a quest available to citizens of military town nodes. As a bounty hunter, you can activate a pathfinding ability to reveal corrupted player locations on your map. This will flag the bounty hunter for combat only to corrupted players for a period of 1 hour from the time of activation, and the pathfinding ability can be toggled on or off. Corrupted players have no combat penalties when fighting bounty hunters, and they may kill them without acquiring additional corruption score. In Ashes of Creation, players that are not in the same party, raid, alliance or guild will not be able to see other players' health percentages or exact health bar values. Instead, a player's nameplate will deteriorate to give an indication of how much damage they have taken. Oftentimes, when you see a player approaching, they will be wearing a transmog. Obviously, you won't know if that person is geared towards magic resistance or physical resistance, for example. And essentially, the game overcomes this in the following way. Players will have a buff on their nameplate that indicates the gear set they are wearing. Other players will be able to see this buff by targeting that player at a distance. This will indicate the type of armor they are predominantly wearing, cloth, leather or plate. And the border will show the level, the quality of the tier set, and if the gear is enchanted. Arenas are instanced PvP scenarios where players can compete with one another. These are not part of the open world PvP. Arenas will have 1-man, 3-man, 5-man and possibly 20-man free-for-all deathmatch group sizes. We will also have ladder systems where we can progress within certain seasons based on our win-loss ratio. Naval PVP is also planned, and here's what we know for now. Operators of a ship's weapons platform can initiate naval PvP against another ship in the following 3 cases. 1. The result of events such as guild wars or node wars between the parties. 2. When the ships move into an area that automatically flags them for combat. And 3. As the result of open world PvP utilizing the flagging and corruption system. Guilds participate in castle sieges in an effort to capture and occupy one of the 5 guild castles in Ashes of Creation. Sieges occur once a month within a server primetime window. The minimum goal is for 250 versus 250 players to be on a single battlefield. It is hoped that this can be increased to 500 versus 500 over time. Castle sieges in the final release may or may not be instanced, and a guild that captures a castle will own that castle for a month before it is sieged again. The information in this section here is still very important, but it will be fast-paced and unorganized, something like quick facts. Different races will have different stats, obviously. These can be important, but the developers stated that they don't want them to dictate any kind of meta for what classes are best used with different races. Your race will be the base for your stats, and your primary archetype will grow those base stats. Meanwhile, the secondary archetype will not contribute to stat growth at all. Professions will not affect a player's stats. Gear has approximately a 40 to 50% influence on a player's overall power in the game. There will be a duel mechanic and a way to auto-decline duel requests. There won't be separate PvE and PvP servers, but some servers may be more PvP focused than others. There will not be different PvP and PvE gear types. Balancing in Ashes of Creation is group focused, not based on 1v1 combat. 1v1 matchups will have a rock paper scissors dynamic, where one class will be superior to another. And that's it for now, guys. As always, I'll remind you that the game is in its early phases, and it's constantly getting changed and updated. I hope that for now though, I gave you a decent overview about how PvP works. Consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see future changes and updates regarding Ashes of Creation. And if you found the information useful, maybe hit the like button, as it really helps the channel out. And if you didn't, maybe hit the dislike and tell me what I could improve for the next video. If you watched up until this point, tell me, What color will your playstyle take? Maybe you just want to be a peaceful green player, or maybe you are dreaming of being a corrupt player that ganks unsuspecting victims? Thanks for watching and see you next time.